She had only known chains, commands, and silence, until a human knelt, reached out his hand, and called her by a name instead of a number. Her heart froze, but his touch was warm. And in that moment, everything changed. The room was quiet, too quiet for a place that had once echoed with the cries of the broken. It was cold, too, not from neglect, but from the sterile touch of manufactured air and steel walls sealed too tightly. She sat on the floor where she'd been left, knees pulled to her chest, arms wrapped tightly around herself beneath the thin, ragged tunic that hung from her frame. Her skin, once radiant with soft golden shimmer, now looked pale, worn thin by days without food and nights without dreams. The human had entered nearly 5 minutes ago, but she hadn't lifted her gaze. She didn't dare. The last time someone had opened that door, it ended with bruises and another link added to the chain around her ankle. But this time, the chain was gone. She didn't know why. Didn't trust it. His boots echoed gently on the steel floor as he stepped inside, slowly, cautiously, as if approaching a wounded animal that might flee or snap. He didn't carry a baton or collar unit. Only a thick coat draped over his arm and something clutched in his other hand, something wrapped in cloth that gave off the faint scent of warmth. She flinched when he knelt beside her. Her long, white hair shifted forward over her face, partially hiding her wide silver eyes, but not her trembling lips. Her mouth had forgotten the taste of food, her body forgotten the feeling of safety. Still, she did not run. "I brought this for you," he said quietly, unwrapping the cloth. The smell that hit her was unlike anything she remembered, savory, soft, warm. A human meal. She blinked. Her arms unwrapped slowly, unsure if it was a trick, but she did not move toward the food. "It's not bait," he added. "It's just yours." She looked at him sharply, as if trying to understand the shape of the lie. But his eyes, brown, weathered, tired, looked back without threat. No ownership. No command. Just concern. Confusion. And something else she couldn't name. He set the food down gently and placed the coat over her shoulders before sitting on the cold floor beside her. She let the silence grow again, watching him from the corner of her eye, unable to speak, unsure if her words were even still hers. She hadn't used her voice in weeks. Maybe longer. The room's harsh light softened against his presence. He didn't move fast, didn't force anything. "Do you have a name?" he asked gently. She looked down again. Her fingers clutched the edge of the coat, not shaking from cold this time, but from disbelief. She tried to answer, tried to form the word, the one she remembered being called before the chains. It came out broken, more breath than sound. He didn't mock her, just nodded slowly. "That's okay," he said. "You can tell me later. Or not. Doesn't matter. You're safe now." Safe. The word hit like a blow. Her chest ached. Her throat tightened. Safe. She hadn't heard it in her own language in so long. It almost hurt. Minutes passed. She looked at the food again. Reached for it. Paused. Her hand hovered in the air until he reached out. Not forceful, not gripping, just offering. His palm open. His hand warm. She stared at it. Her whole body tensed. Her breath caught in her chest. Then, slowly, barely believing, she placed her trembling hand in his. The contact was electric. Not from pain, but from the unfamiliar sensation of softness, of kindness, of someone holding without hurting. She didn't pull away. She didn't speak. She just sat there, hand in his, afraid to blink in case this moment disappeared. His fingers curled gently around hers, careful not to squeeze. "You don't belong here," he said softly. "Not anymore. If you want, I'll get you out." Her breath shivered again. Her legs unfolded slowly. Her knees touched the floor as she tried to stand but faltered. He caught her, not grabbing, not lifting, just steadying. Her hair fell around her face again, white strands curling at her cheeks, hiding the tears that started to fall as the weight of her fear crumbled. One step, then another. She walked, not alone, but beside him, clutching his hand like a lifeline. The corridors were dim, the walls cold and silent. She felt eyes on her, guards, other slaves, machines, but none touched her. None dared. The man beside her didn't let go. Not once. He led her through a docking bay, a place she had never been permitted. She squinted at the ship's warm lights, blinking against the brightness. He guided her up the ramp, his hand still gently wrapped around hers. The doors sealed behind them with a soft hiss, and for the first time, she didn't flinch. Inside, the air was warmer, quieter. She looked around slowly, taking in the strange, soft chairs, the flickering blue lights of the cockpit. He showed her to a small room, not a cage, not a cell. A room, with a bed, A shelf. A window that looked out into space. She stepped forward like someone approaching a sacred place, her bare feet silent on the floor. He didn't follow her in, just stood at the doorway, watching, letting her choose. She turned toward him, still wrapped in his coat, still gripping the edge of it like armor. Her voice came out, dry, raspy, but her own. Why? He looked surprised, but not at her question, more like he hadn't expected her to speak. Because no one should be treated like a thing, he said. Because you matter. Her knees gave out again, not from weakness, but from something deeper. From the overwhelming weight of being seen. She collapsed onto the bed, face buried in the soft fabric, her shoulders trembling with the first real sobs she'd allowed herself in years. He didn't come closer, didn't intrude, just stood there, watching, waiting. Later, she would sleep without chains. Later, she would speak her name. Later, she would walk the corridors of his ship and not flinch when someone passed. But for now, for this quiet, fragile moment, she sat with his coat around her shoulders, her hands still remembering the warmth of his, and her soul trying to accept one impossible truth. He didn't want to own her. He wanted her to be free. And for the first time, she believed it might be true.